I think the more people know about Bitcoin, how it actually can be very secure and how it can be used actually as social benefits, I think people will be a lot more welcoming to it.
Yeah. Hey folks, Flo here with CryptoNews Canada. We're at the Canadian Blockchain Summit. I'm here with Jessica Bank of Cryptotherm, who's going to introduce herself in just a second. So yeah, why don't you just take a minute basically and tell us who you are and what Cryptotherm is.
So I'm one of the co-founders, myself and my husband. We opened the company, and what we specialize in is immersion mining systems. And so these systems have a lot of benefits, and one that we're really excited about is that we can capture the heat, and instead of pushing it out just into the environment and wasting that electricity that you put in and then wasting that heat, we can use that heat for different purposes. So whether that's a residential setting or whether that's a commercial type setting, greenhouses, all these different options. We're really excited about that option, as well as the immersion is a very effective way of actually getting a lot more profit from your Bitcoin. So win-win for everybody, and you can get a lot more out of something that you already have to pay for, which is your heating bill.
Absolutely, super clear, and indeed less than a minute. So you can confirm that Cryptotherm is not a crypto spa or something like that, right? That's
No.
what I might have thought when I saw this. Tell me a little bit more about that technology then. So it sounds really exciting that it's not just sort of, a financial and a technological, but also perhaps a sustainability kind of project, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of different opportunities with what we've created, and really it centers around the immersion, which has the ability to run the miners at an overclocked rate, so you can get more Bitcoin, you can capture the heat better, then you can take it, you can plumb it straight into your in-floor heating, you can heat a pool. We have clients who I want to heat my pool all winter then, and so I can use it, and they'll heat it using Bitcoin, they'll get their money back in Bitcoin.
That's
and
amazing.
It's very exciting. And then on the commercial end, we have much larger units, which you wouldn't put in your house, but they're basically in sea cans, and so we go onto sites, and sometimes we use excess flare gas. So things that's already being burnt off, then we have this incentive to use it for something. And so there's lots of different options in how we can optimize what's going in and what's going out of our Bitcoin mining experience.
And a lot of flare gas here in Alberta, right?
Exactly.
So that's a big opportunity for you guys, I suppose.
Yeah.
And what do you actually immerse the miners in? I'm curious.
Yeah, so it's a dielectric fluid. It's a mineral oil that we actually created. It's called CT Cool for Cryptotherm Cool. And so it keeps them silent. If you've ever been in an air mine, it can be very loud and disruptive, and you wouldn't want to have it in your home or near a community. A lot of communities end up being very frustrated about the noise, and so our fluid, it's pretty much silent, and as well is really good at capturing that heat.
Yeah, and that's an invention of yours. That's an IP of your own company,
Yeah.
and you and your husband.
Yeah.
I love the fact that it's a family business too, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can confirm it's your own IP.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's something that you own, basically.
It's ours. Yeah, we worked with a lab which is actually just next door to us, and they are a chemical lab, and we worked with them to create basically what we think is the ideal fluid.
That's very cool. So I have a question of your choice, but you've kind of already told us what immersion is. So maybe you could choose between what is Bitcoin mining, maybe. Would that be useful for you?
Sure, yeah. So Bitcoin mining, it has a lot to do with our computer systems that we have, right? And so we have these Bitcoin miners, and they run the system which encrypts, decrypts, all that kind of stuff, and then you get rewarded in order for basically lending your computer systems into the program.
Your computer power.
Your computer power. And
Right.
so because you're putting in that energy and you're processing these transactions and all these things with your computer system, you get rewarded in Bitcoin.
Yeah, and because of course it's a decentralized system, right?
Exactly,
So there's no sort of headquarter with all the servers,
Yeah.
but it's all these contributions that help sort of process, validate, secure the system as well, I understand.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Great. What is your unique vantage point on the Alberta and Canadian crypto market as an entrepreneur? I don't actually know how long you guys have been around, but...
Well, we're in testing for a few years, but we actually only incorporated a year ago, so it's been huge growth, but we've since then been shipping all over US, Canada, and Trinidad.
Amazing.
So,
Trinidad, that's an interesting place too. I know they have solar farms there as well. So what is your perspective on being an entrepreneur? What is the ecosystem like? Of course, the CBC where we're at right now is probably one of the biggest conveners, but we also have a Bitcoiner premier now here. So how do you feel about the ecosystem here?
I'm very excited about it. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. We're obviously heavy, especially in Alberta, in the energy sector, and there's a lot of opportunities where we can work together with the energy sector. We can make some of their problems go away, and they can make some of our problems go away. And I also think it's ideal, even just in the sense of climate. So Texas is a huge place where there's a lot of Bitcoin mines, a lot of hosting going on. And a huge problem with Bitcoin mining, of course, is the heat. And Texas is hot, whereas here we have much milder temperatures. So it's actually easier to operate mines here, as long as we can have the legislation and all the insurances in place that we're not going to be afraid that it's taken away or that it's stopped or anything. So as long as people are comfortable, I think this is an optimal place, especially in Alberta, to run Bitcoin mines.
Yeah, that's great to hear. We hear that a lot, by the way, even outside of Alberta. I mean, Alberta has become a bit of a magnet. So congratulations on incorporating a year ago. I incorporated 6 months ago, so I know how big of a milestone that is. Especially all the R&D you must have had to do before. So as you start to grow and scale your business, you'll need to employ people, right? And I'd love to know a little bit about what kind of jobs you see at your company and more generally in the crypto industry, and also how people can prepare for those jobs of the future, let's say.
Of course, yeah. I think there's lots of different opportunities, and I think especially for us, there's a special opportunity in manufacturing where it's not just people who are super techie into Bitcoin. We employ a team of plumbers, a team of electricians, because we manufacture all of our stuff in-house, welders, all this kind of thing. And so there's lots of different opportunities that are opening up for these different trades, as well as, of course, on the tech side. What we would love to see is a lot more, young kids getting into Bitcoin, playing around with computers and getting that interest, because those are the people who are really going to develop in this space that's really very new in a lot of ways and needs new innovation and new types of thoughts. So
that's really useful to hear, absolutely. And maybe a couple of thoughts on what's uniquely Canadian about crypto.
I think the sense of community in Canada, diversity, is something that really leads well into crypto, because it is something that everyone's kind of contributing to, and there's all these different fields, whether it's more centered on the blockchain and the tech and all that kind of thing, or if it's the manufacturing, the oil and gas, the energy. I feel like Canada is very a collaborative place and open to new ideas, open to different kinds of people, and I think Bitcoin really is that, where it's the people coming together and they're making something and they're supporting something. So I think that's exciting.
You can feel it at an event like this for sure. I mean, people are so welcoming and warm and clearly, I guess maybe because it is an industry that is still kind of nascent and does get its fair share of headwinds, let's say, or resistance. So I guess we are trying to maybe band together a bit more than in other industries. I'd love to talk about the sort of environmental, sustainable, maybe even social aspect of crypto in general, and maybe Bitcoin more particularly, because when people think about crypto, I think they think about money number one, tech maybe number two, but maybe often we don't talk enough about the other aspects that are maybe more intangible. Do you want to speak to that a little bit? Clearly, you must be driven by passion. Right?
I think there's tons of opportunities there. For example, the ability to have, say, for example, a lot of these mines are pods which are easily movable and stuff. Remote communities can benefit from these, whereas sometimes other companies aren't incentivized to go to remote communities, right? And so they can benefit from having the ability to move these around to remote gas sites, or whether it be even reserve areas and stuff like that, where they're looking for this extra way to make an income, as well as that, like I talked about before, using that heat. We've thought a lot about maybe running greenhouses off of these extra heat that's coming
especially
off.
in a cold climate,
Especially
like Canada,
in a
right?
cold climate, or especially in, say, northern territories where they're paying so much money for produce, because who's going to want to go and heat a greenhouse there, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of
crypto
opportunities.
clearly has a heat problem
It
or
has,
challenge,
yeah.
and then like a too much heat and
Yeah.
and too much cold on the other end, right? So it's kind of a match made in heaven.
So I think it's great to think about what is one industry's waste, and then how can that be someone else's treasure. And I think when you think that way, everyone can benefit a whole lot more. Yeah.
If I may say so, because I think I'm a little bit older, you're relatively young and you're an entrepreneur and you're running a family business, which is really awesome. I'm wondering if there are any misconceptions, if there are people maybe in your family or in your friends circles, you know, that you sometimes have to, you know, explain certain things because you hear something and you say, no, that's not actually true.
Yeah.
Is there something you'd like to maybe take this opportunity to, you know, to sort of correct, let's say? Or
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fear around Bitcoin for a lot of reasons. A lot of it is just people don't really understand how it works, or how do you actually mine a Bitcoin? Are you going down into a mine? You know, a lot of people don't really understand what it looks like. And there's also misinformation, I think, about this environmental impact that sometimes can be a negative thing, depending on how it's done. But I think there's opportunities where we're already using certain resources, and we can kind of just add added benefit to that, or even create something out of it. And so I think the more people know about Bitcoin, how it actually can be very secure, and how it can be used actually as social benefits, I think people will be a lot more welcoming to it.
Yeah, well, and I think the voice of a young woman entrepreneur would probably be very useful as well, because you don't seem like I don't know, some kind of a, you know, dangerous or risky kind of threat to the world. I don't see that.
You never know that. No.
Of course, yeah, you could be a sheep in, is it a wolf in sheep's clothes? Any final thoughts? Any final message you'd like to send, or maybe some update on what people should expect at Cryptotherm in the coming months and years?
I really like to see different and new ideas. So I hope that people are really willing to learn about Bitcoin and learn about what takes to get there, and so how it can benefit them, their communities. And then for Cryptotherm, we're open to so many new opportunities. We love when people come to us and they say, hey, I have this problem, or maybe you can help me here. And we love those kind of things where everyone can win and everyone can be better. So. Well,
and with that smile, I mean, who wouldn't believe her, right? So anyway, thank you very much, Jessica. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Flo here with CryptoNews Canada at the Canadian Blockchain Summit. Make sure you watch all the other videos. Cheers.